Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and we have a new, I haven't done any trailer breakdowns for a while, even though we've gotten a lot of trailers, and that's actually the main reason why I haven't done much on the Rebirth trailers, because we've gotten like 5 of them daily for the last, actually, who knows how long. Ever since we got the second trailer, we've gotten about 5 new trailers for Rebirth, or TV spots, daily, and I'm not covering all of that, especially since it's not much new, and it's usually like, oh look, a new Mutodon scene. I don't care, and like a few new like extended scene stuff I kind of either just don't want to spoil, or it's just like slightly extended version of scenes we've already seen. And I just haven't had much new to say, but this new Jeep ad has some new stuff and also has good looks of the dinosaurs, and man, I really want to talk about them. And just a heads up, if you probably already know what's going to come in this video if you've seen any of my other Rebirth videos, but just in case you don't know, this video is going to consist of me gushing over a few of the redesigns, me kind of just pretty much poking at a few of them as well, and then me just trashing on Titanosaurus for a few minutes straight. So if you don't want to watch that, then yeah, I gave you the heads up. You could decide if you want to watch that or not. Anyways, I'm mainly just going to be covering the dinosaur scenes in this ad, but I actually really love this ad. Probably my favorite. I actually like this more than the actual trailers. Not gonna lie, I just like finally getting to see the dinosaurs. But yeah. Anyways, for the first, accidentally opened something up. But anyways, yeah, for the first slide, we have, I don't know what's up with my computer right now, but anyways, first we have a look at this Velociraptor, and it is absolutely beautiful. I know I didn't talk much on the Rebirth Velociraptor. I didn't think it was particularly interesting, especially based off that first render, since it looked like a mash between the Jurassic Park Raptors and the Jurassic World Raptors, and I just don't like the Jurassic World Raptors too much. It felt like those features ruined it, but there's basically none of that in these actual new design, and man, it is beautiful. I really like this Velociraptor design. Honestly, the only thing is that it's basically going to get no screen time in this film. It's going to be like basically just noticed, basically just because they decided they wanted to have a dragon in this movie, because why the heck not at this point? So yeah, the stupid Mutodon's fault, where we're not seeing this beautiful raptor anymore. But yeah, just looking at this thing, it looks amazing. Next, we have the T-Rex chasing the Jeep, which this T-Rex design, again, I don't think I talked about this in a video. I honestly just thought the new T-Rex would just look like pretty much any old Jurassic Park T-Rex. Like, I thought like it was similar, like, honestly, if like the old Jurassic Park Rexes were the same like video quality or like modern day quality, I would just kind of rank this up among those guys, and honestly, if anything, probably be the second best Rex. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a really good T-Rex, just nothing particularly special. Like, I still put Buck above this. It's kind of just another Jurassic Rex, and then I really thought about it. Jurassic World's T-Rex has been absolute garbage. Rexy sucks, I'm sorry, especially in the more recent films where she's just not really good. And then I realized how much this Rebirth T-Rex acted like the old Rexes from the first, like, 2 films especially. I know it kind of worked in JP3, but it wasn't there long. Spinosaurus broke that thing's neck. But anyways, from the first 2 films, this T-Rex really acted like one of those T-Rexes, and I really just like, okay, yeah, design-wise, it kind of just looks like a regular Jurassic Rex. Behavior-wise is really where this is. I feel like, okay, yes, definitely the behavior is going to be carrying this T-Rex, especially with like the swimming scene, which don't get me wrong, I always considered to be amazing. Just thought it was like, okay, one decent scene. And now I'm kind of understanding why people are so hyped for this T-Rex, since it's, well, not only is it a new design of the T-Rex that is slightly different but still looks really good, but also it's basically just getting the old T-Rex back. We haven't had it for so long since they completely ruined T-Rex in the more recent films and other pieces of media, that we're basically getting a regular good T-Rex back for the first time in a while. And after realizing that, I like this T-Rex so much more. Again, I still think I prefer Buck a little bit more, but I still think that this is an amazing Jurassic T-Rex, and definitely still second best, if not tied with Buck. Anyways, now we have this scene, which, this is like the scene that everyone's been talking about from this ad specifically. Pretty much, first we have the Spinosaurus, which I believe this is the first time we've seen the Spinosaurus on land. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think we've seen like any like actual like of the actual Spinosaurus like model actually moving around on land. We've only seen it swimming in the water from that one scene. And I honestly hope that we do get to see the Spinosaurus on land. That'd be pretty cool to see. And yeah, I'm kind of also using this video just to talk about the designs more, and this Rebirth Spinosaurus, I don't hate it, don't get me wrong. I think it's, out of all of the new designs, it's probably the best, actually. Of the new designs, I don't know, like, either they are a decent design but don't fit the franchise, I have a vendetta against them, aka Titanosaurus, or they're just complete garbage. Spinosaurus is the only one that I actually like, though granted, I don't think it's particularly a special Spinosaurus design. Like, just looking at the original Spinosaurus design, I'm not one of those people just like, oh, I prefer the inaccurate one. I actually really like accurate Spinosaurus, and if it was done well, I would way prefer the more accurate one. just, if you look at that old Spinosaurus, not only was it a good depiction of the of Spinosaurus at the time, but also just generally the way the colors and just everything about it was really iconic. This new Spinosaurus has really none of that. It's kind of just, they took accurate Spinosaurus, made it like bulky, made it more monstrous, and then gave it like either brown or kind of plain green colors with yellow stripes. Not very iconic, and also, yeah, the head still looks weird. It's grown on me, but it still looks a bit weird. And I think I would have preferred like an actual regular Spinosaurus head on this thing. But yeah, honestly, I still can work with that. I just think it's not particularly unique or anything. I still do like this Spinosaurus, even though, again, I don't think it's the best Spinosaurus design they could have done. The thing that people have been talking about in this scene the most is the new compy, which we knew compsognathus was like announced, but we hadn't seen it. And pretty much it's the same old compy, except it's red, which is actually pretty interesting. I'm curious to see what this thing is going to like do in the film. It's probably not going to do much, but I still kind of interested to see it some more. It kind of seems to be like right on top of like kind of like gray legs, arms, and like a stripe, gray like a, well, maybe not gray, but like a darker color stripe, and maybe a little bit around the eye, and then like kind of like a white underbelly. It looks pretty nice. Not much to say. I mean, it's just a nice compy, and it's nice to kind of see things changed up. I don't really hate the colors or anything. I think it looks nice. Now I'm going to put a quick warning, dubious freak warning. Titanosaurus. Oh my goodness, I want to like this creature so bad, and there's so many, like, there's a lot of good qualities about the design, and like, this thing is like 50% good design and 50% good concepts. But the thing is that all those concepts were executed like garbagely, I'm sorry. This thing has like, just starting off with positives. The legs, body, and neck look absolutely beautiful on this thing, alongside the colors. I love the colors on the Rebirth Titanosaurus. And I definitely hear people are talking about this is the best sauropod. I'd argue that we still had ones with like more unique patterns, like the Jurassic Park 3 stuff, Brachiosaurus, and the Jurassic World Dominion Dreadnoughtus, which was blue with yellow stripes. But definitely this is better than any of those, and I just really love the colors on this animal. Now, the thing is, I think the neck works for a Titanosaur. I guess it's alright for a Titanosaur. Actually, yeah, I'd say it's pretty solid for Titanosaurs. It's kind of like a more slim Isosaurus neck. Kind of works. Body, again, works pretty well. Body, pretty decent also for a Titanosaur. My issue with this design is pretty much everything else. First thing, if you like, again, I'm going to talk about the scene a little bit more. They're kind of embracing each other, which I know they mentioned is kind of going to be a scene in the movie, but in this ad, they kind of have it here. And then also kind of a look at the body and the tail, which I'm going to actually step away from the head and talk about the tail. I just kind of find the tail unnecessary. Like, this thing, the tail is like 3 times longer than the rest of the animal for no reason. I think it would have just been better if they wanted to do like a long kind of more whip-like tail. I think it still could have worked on a Titanosaur. Just, I feel like they did excessive. No tail sauropod, which like even Diplodocids, which have ridiculously long and whip-like tails, I don't think even they had this much of a whip-like tail. And then you put it on a sauropod that doesn't really have a whip-like tail, and it just looks really weird, and in my opinion, just kind of done for no reason. Like, I feel like if they wanted to, like, if they would have just took like a regular Titanosaur tail and then extended it a bit more and then made it a little bit more whip-like, I would have worked like that. I can kind of work with that. Just, I feel like adding the whip was just kind of pointless. But anyway, going on to this slide, you can actually see this thing's face. It's absolutely hideous. I don't dislike it because it has an inflatable sack. I dislike it because it looks absolutely disgusting. I'm sorry, I hate this thing's face. It just doesn't look good, and it doesn't quite look, like, it kind of looks Titanosaur-like. Like, they kind of have the general Titanosaur shape, but then it's really fleshy and really, really, really ugly. And then the inflatable sack is not helping much. Again, I like the colors on the face, especially of the one I'm assuming is the male, which this one on the screen I think is the female one, but I think the male one has more of like a white face, and I think it looks really interesting. The actual face shape just doesn't work for me. It just really looks bad in my opinion. I think sauropods are really, their faces are kind of weird, and they're kind of hard to get, but the Jurassic franchise is always just defaulted to making them fleshy, and I think it kind of, like on Brachiosaurus, I think the fleshy face works the best. On the Apatosaurus, it's hard for me to compare these two creatures, because on one hand, Titanosaurus I have so much issues with, but on the other hand, Apatosaurus is so painfully ignorable that it's like, I kind of don't want to, I can't faithfully say Titanosaurus or Apatosaurus are better than each other. I can't say which one's worse or which one's better. I cannot confidently place one, so it's like, The face just doesn't really work. It's just a big old lump of wrinkliness. And then Dreadnoughtus, yes, its face is a bit creepy, but I think that's probably one of my favorite sauropod faces. I kind of just forgot about Lynchosaurus, but its face is also probably maybe even better than Brachiosaurus with the fleshy kind of face. But Dreadnoughtus kind of went with more of that, kind of like an in-between, a little bit more of like lizard-lipped, but like the actual face was a bit fleshy. I don't know, I think the Dreadnoughtus face just worked the best. Titanosaurus doesn't work really at all. Kind of has like a cow's face, but at the same time deformed to be a sauropod. Really just don't like it. It's absolutely disgusting. And lastly, the sails, which admittedly, the sails are kind of weird because on one hand, I don't really care about them. Like, I can kind of ignore them and they don't particularly ruin the design. They're just feel pointless, and honestly, just looking back at this design, I think I would have preferred it without the sails. Like, I know, like, I have not been dying for display structures on a sauropod, but if they were going to include them, sails are not my favorite, though. I feel like if this design didn't have the issues that it did, I think that they could work perfectly fine. They wouldn't really be a particular issue. I just really think osteoderms would have looked better on this design. Not even just saying that because I don't really like the sails. I think osteoderms just would have really looked nice on the Titanosaurus design. So, yeah, it kind of feels pointless. They slap osteoderms on literally everything, and then we finally get an animal that would have looked nice with osteoderms and would have had osteoderms in real life. They decide not to and just give it these freaky sails for literally no reason. So, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Admittedly, I think it's the sails actually. I know they can kind of lay them down to make them look flat and you can't really see them. Admittedly, I actually kind of like the sails when they're up. At least it kind of gives a little bit of flair. The sails don't really ruin the design for me. They're just kind of pointless. They just don't really help the design. I feel like they just did it because why the heck not? And lastly is the actual species choice. There is no reason you would ever pick Titanosaurus. Them picking Titanosaurus is like, if there was an actor, actually several actors, that would have worked perfect depicting a character, but instead they pick an actor that realistically looks and acts nothing like the character, and had that person get hired. It really just doesn't make any sense. It rubs me the wrong way. Like, I don't get why they would pick a relatively small sauropod that, well, at least for sauropods, it's not really big Titanosaurus. That is also dubious, which, again, basically means it is in a state of limbo in which we can't prove that it exists, nor that we can't prove that Titanosaurus as a genus is distinct from other genera, but at the same time, we cannot prove that other genera are not really the same as Titanosaurus. It's kind of weird, but long story short, pretty much Titanosaurus kind of doesn't really exist. So, it really doesn't make sense why they would pick this animal over Argentinosaurus, a extremely large titanosaur, and they are going for a massive sauropod. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Titanosaurus, there's no reason for them to have picked it outside of it having a cool name. And I feel at this point, you're just being lazy if you're picking something off the name alone, when there's really no other reason else. Actually, if every other point about picking this animal is against, like, every other point for this animal is, like, against picking it, and the only good point towards it is having a cool name, and that's why you pick the species. I just find that utterly stupid when, like, Argentinosaurus and Alamosaurus were sitting right there, and both of those species, I think, have cool enough names and would have fit this sauropod way better. Also, with the marketing they're doing with this animal, they have so much marketing, and they're basically giving recognition. So the Jurassic franchise, any species that appears in a Jurassic film is going to be recognized everywhere. It's automatically going to have a huge burst in popularity, and basically how the general public is going to see the animal. And pretty much we're getting a general push to something that doesn't exist instead of some animals that really could have used the recognition. I would have preferred a large, relatively unknown sauropod that heck almost no one has heard about over Titanosaurus, something that doesn't exist. I kind of just don't like the fact that they're pushing an animal that doesn't really exist as something that it's not, instead of picking something else that already kind of is a real animal and giving that more popularity. That's why I really hate this Titanosaurus. I really want to like this design because there's a lot of good qualities to it that are really nice about it. Like, the concept of having a large, more display-like sauropod with display structures, I think is really nice, and I think they pulled it off so well, except for the actual display structures, and the face, and the whiptail. Just most of this animal I find pointless, and they're just really dumb decisions that just really rub me the wrong way, which is why I really hate Titanosaurus. Also, this thing's face is absolutely hideous. Don't think I need to say that again, but yeah, that's why I hate the Titanosaurus. And honestly, I think that it also just generally just not a good depiction of Titanosaurus. That honestly, and even then, if those issues were fixed, honestly, heck, even if they just changed the name, made the face not ugly, and maybe shorten the whiptail, like at least half it in length, I can deal with the sails and a few of the other things. I can kind of deal with those. Just like pick any other sauropod, like any other Titanosaur, like maybe even Footalongosaurus, Argentinosaurus, Alamosaurus. I would honestly say this is the best design, like new design of Rebirth. All the other designs of Rebirth, like the new ones, are not particularly good. Spinosaurus, again, is alright depiction of Spinosaurus, just not very memorable. Aqualops is an absolute garbage depiction of the animal. And then Mr. Mutant just does not look like a mutant dinosaur. Again, I think it's an alright design on its own, just doesn't work in this franchise. And the Mutodons, similar thing to Mr. Mutant, except they work slightly better, but like, I just don't like dragons, and there's literally an entire live-action How to Train Your Dragon movie. Why the heck would I come to watch a Jurassic film if I just wanted to see dragons? Like, what is the point of making a brand new, absolutely beautiful Velociraptor design? I'm not even super, like, a super big Jurassic Velociraptor fan, but I would have really liked to see that new design instead of a dragon. But yeah, again, that's kind of just some gripes I have with the species in this movie. Now, Quetzalcoatlus, the last creature in this ad, that's like second to last new creature. We don't see it much, it's just eating fish. Honestly, the design is... Honestly, this Quetzalcoatlus looks pretty decent from every angle except from the front, and literally everything we get for this Quetzalcoatlus is from the front. I don't know why this thing just looks ugly and just does not look good. Even from the, like, side angles, it looks pretty decent. I can actually kind of work with this. I think, it would have been nice if they went with a different ass Darkid, since, again, the Dominion Quetzalcoatlus is perfection, and this is just kind of a downgrade from that. Any way you turn it, even if it's a good design, which it is a good design, it's the downgrade from the Dominion one, and it would have just been better off if they went with a different as Darkid, since again, it doesn't particularly look too much like Quetzalcoatlus, really. Like, Thaddeus Draken or Hatchagopterus would have been a good pick instead. So, yeah, that would have been nice. I could still work with it being a Quetzalcoatlus, at least it's not dubious. Again, just think the marketing team really should have picked any other angle within the front of this thing. The front, it just does not look good. Another thing is that, behavior-wise, I still have not seen a single scene of this thing acting like an as dark. It just acts like a big old pteranodon. That's literally what all the scenes are, and that's kind of how Quetzalcoatlus is treated in this show, and a lot of other pieces of paleo media. Instead of a giant murder stork, it's just a big old pteranodon. Literally, it's eating fish in this ad, which, again, maybe they happen to just be the scene, but it's kind of just depicted as a fish eater and kind of just like, I don't know. I've seen one scene of this thing on the ground in Jurassic World Rebirth in, like, an actual forest, and it seems to be, like, appearing for 2 seconds before it starts immediately flying, chasing the characters up a cliff. So, again, if Quetzalcoatlus, again, had a good scene on the ground, I think I could definitely work with the cave scene, just it being its only scene, kind of issue. But the actual design itself, this thing's colors are beautiful, and again, the only thing on the design that I do not like is the beak. Everything else on this, I actually really do like. It looks amazing. Again, not as good as the Dominion Quetz, but if it was a different pterosaur, I think that this would just be a really good introduction and good design for that as Darkid. And really, they just need to work on the behaviors. Like Titanosaurus, I hate that thing's design, but behavior-wise, I think is really good. It could be a bit more aggressive, but that's kind of a whole herbivore issue, honestly. Having some peaceful scenes of herbivores, there's nothing wrong with that, but still, I think Titanosaurus' behaviors are really nice. But, yeah, not Quetzalcoatlus. They kind of really ruined this creature, and I still find it wild. Dino Dana, the movie, did better representing as Darkids than this Jurassic film. Why? Anyways, we have the end of the ad, which we can see the Quetzalcoatlus flying around. Dubious freak in the background, and another creature that literally no one talks about. The ankylosaurus, which we'll get to in a second, but here's another scene of the end ad. And you can just see the Titanosaurus' tail is like 2 to 3 times the length of the rest of the animal's body. I'd say like, yeah, almost 3 times the length. And why is it this ridiculously long? Like, honestly, I don't think I can really think of any animal with a tail this long in proportion to its body, except maybe like some wood-tailed lizards or something like that. Again, I just think it's really random and a pointless design decision. And just weird that these tails just define like gravity and just like float in the air. Kind of just pointless. Anyways, closer up again, you can see Dubious Freak, which from a distance also almost look good. Also, this thing, like, if you look at the one that's just starting to get up, is the whole entire body shape just looks weird. But when they're fully standing up or just laying down, I think they look nice. They got the body posture. They got a lot of things good with this sauropod. It's just, they just kind of really ruined it at some parts. And again, I don't know why no one has talked about this, Ankylosaurus. This is the first time we've seen, like, the actual 3D model for Ankylosaurus, which, it's just the Jurassic World Ankylosaurus, which is a bit disappointing. Definitely would have preferred a new Ankylosaur or a redesign for this animal. I don't know why they're not redesigning the herbivores. All the carnivores got pretty good redesigns, kind of, but the herbivores, the one that needed it the most, didn't get any. And yeah, that kind of sucks. But yeah, just bringing back the Jurassic Ankylosaurs, I guess, works. So yeah, that's this new trailer. This is kind of just a video for me to talk about all of the new Jurassic World Rebirth designs and my opinions on them. But yeah, generally, I really like this ad, and hope we get more like them. Like, some of my favorite Rebirth ads were the, I think it was Hardee's, or was it, I cannot remember. I think it was Hardee's. And we got, like, that was the only ad where we actually got to see what Dreadnoughtus looked like. Like, we didn't get any good looks of it in the movie, but in the ad, we got to see it. I really like these commercials that, like, actually give us good looks at, like, new 3D, like, animated scenes of the dinosaurs. I just really love these. And glad that we got one for Rebirth. And, yeah, again, Rebirth has a lot of good... Rebirth, again, I think this design style they're kind of going with really works for redesigns when it's like, again, when they basically have a base design and they redesign that animal, it really works, but new designs, it's just not good. They just, I don't know, they're just not really good at the redesign. I mean, at the new design, but the redesigns generally look really good. But, yeah, what are your thoughts on the rebirth designs? Generally, again, already said my opinion, so I don't have anything else to say, but, yeah, hopefully we get to see more Jurassic World rebirth stuff, since we've seen a lot, just went to the store earlier and got to see, like, a bunch of new displays and new figures, but, yeah, anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one, and goodbye.